Hey everybody, Boris back with you, and today I wanted to give you 5 different builds that I think that you should try if you're new to the game, just to kind of see what you like about the game, what you're good at, things that you might be better at than others. The builds that you're going to like the best are the ones that you find the most success with. Finding the right perks and the right airdrop is vital to this game and vital to your success in it. Once you realize what you should run and what you are best at, you'll start winning more matches and you'll start having a lot more fun playing the game. So I'm going to go through just 5 different builds to try and give you an idea of what you can try out, see if you like it, see if you don't, and then you can go from there and kind of customize it for yourself. One thing to note, we will keep some things very similar when we're changing some of these builds around, just because some of the perks are definitely more valuable than others. So let's start off with the one that I'm running right now. Right now I have Backpacker selected, and that is under the utility, and that's simply because now when I'm running Backpacker, I can run straight to a building, grab 5 different items right from the start. Hopefully in those 5 items I can find a bludgeon weapon, maybe a stim or 2, and then some kind of trap or something like that to help me out, and I can carry all 5 of those at once. So this is something that I'm trying out. Another one that you can run is Man Tracker if you want to play a little bit more aggressive, but for now, let's just stick with Backpacker. We're going to assume that this is for a relatively new player that doesn't know a lot about the game, and so we're going to just tailor it towards being new and inexperienced, so we want to give him the best chance possible to see what's going on. So we're going to select Backpacker to give us 5 inventory slots instead of 3 when you start the match. Second, we're going to look at this survival perk, Dig Deep. And if you don't know already, if you haven't seen my perk guide video that I made in the past, Dig Deep is the best perk in the game in my opinion. And if you've watched any other YouTubers like Baggins TV, I mean, he'll say over and over that Dig Deep is the most valuable. And that's simply because it gives you a second chance. So if you go down to 1 health, you automatically get 10 health back. So even if you're at 2 health, for example, and you get hit with a full blow from a katana, which would give you about 25 or 26 or so damage dealt to you, you're going to get that 10 health back, and you'll get that second chance to finish off the player. So if you have Dig Deep and they don't, you're definitely at an advantage. So we're going to keep this on most of our builds here. We might switch it up for a couple, but for the basic ones, we want Dig Deep definitely. That's the #1 perk. And then next, we're going to go down to the combat section, and we're going to select Basher. And basically this is a weapon-specific perk. It's going to give us 15% less melee and thrown charge time with all bludgeon weapons. So this is going to work for the tier 1 through the tier 4 weapons. It's going to work for every single bludgeon weapon. And this is a really good perk because it's going to work all the time. It's not just situational. Every time you go to take a swing, you're going to get 15% less charge time that it's going to take to make a fully charged swing. And throwing your bludgeon, if you're throwing it at an opponent that's running away, it's going to take you 15% less time to charge that fully charged throw or that fully charged hit. So this is definitely a good one, and this is going to complete our first perk set for our first build, which I'm going to call the bludgeon build. And now, as far as the airdrop is concerned, there's 2 things that you can do here. So right now I have this mid-random tier 3 bludgeon, which can either give me a baseball bat or a pipe wrench. Now the pipe wrench is a slow weapon, but we are getting that 15% charge time difference back, and so it kind of lessens that blow of the slow weapon for the pipe wrench if you do happen to get it. But if you get the baseball bat, which is already a fast weapon, you're just going to destroy people if you come across them with it, because you're going to be swinging so fast that they're not going to be able to block in time when you do a fully charged hit, and you're going to have an advantage as soon as you get that weapon in your hand. So I definitely like this because another reason, it's a mid-match airdrop, so you're going to get it right after the first event starts. Everyone's going to be able to call in their mid-match airdrops, and all you have to do is get to a 100 funk total in order to call in this airdrop, which can be easily done if you loot 2 buildings. If you get 1 kill and loot a couple weapons, you'll be able to get 100 funk pretty easily if you're able to survive until you can use it. So that's why I would choose this, but another one that you can choose, which I would suggest, is this late long ball. And this is good because it's still 150. That's not that much, but it is a late airdrop, so you're not going to get this until around the 17-minute mark or something like that, when the second event of the match goes off, then you're going to be able to call in your late airdrop. But everything you're getting here is great. So you're going to get the baseball bat guaranteed. Then you're going to get a crafted armor, reinforced crafted armor, which is the highest crafted armor you can get. You're going to get a gas grenade and a crafted explosive. And so these are all valuable things that you can have. You can replace many things in your inventory that you would already have at this point when you get this airdrop. So you can choose between these two. It just depends on if you think you can survive longer in the match, but if you're pretty new to the game, I definitely would suggest this mid-match airdrop where you only have to get up to 100 funk, because you're going to be able to call this in more reliably than if you have to wait until the late match, especially if you're new and you're just trying to get your feet wet in this game. So that's going to be our bludgeon build. We're going to have these 3 perks, and then we're going to run the tier 3 bludgeon mid-match airdrop. Okay, now for something similar, we're going to change one of these perks around, and we're going to do what I'm going to call the blade build. So we have backpacker still, dig deep, and then for the blade, we're going to want to select Brutus, which will give us 25% backstab damage with any blade. So that's an extra 25%. If you're hitting for, say, 20 damage normally with a blade, then you're going to be hitting for 25 instead. And so this is definitely beneficial if somebody's running away from you, or if somebody's caught in one of your traps. You can hit them with a backstab, maybe even 2 in a row, and you're really taking away some of their health with this extra 25%. So these are the 3 perks that we're going to choose. Not too much different from the bludgeon build that we had, but we're going to change it up so it's blade specific. And then for the airdrop, much like the bludgeon build, we're going to select this tier 3 blade, which can either give you the Bowie knife or the tactical machete. The Bowie knife is definitely the better of the two. It has a higher bleed rating, and it is just overall better. So we're going to hope for that when we get this, but the tactical machete is still a very good weapon to have. And like I said, you're only going to need that 100 funk in order to get it. And this is definitely a great airdrop to get. Now, if you do feel like you can last until the late airdrops and you think you can accumulate a lot of funk, you might want to try out the katana, because it is by far the best weapon in the game. The bleed damage on it, as well as the base damage, just outclasses other weapons. But you do have to get up to 200 funk throughout the game, so it is going to be a challenge for some new players. That's why I think we should select this tier 3 blade, because you only have to get to 100 funk, which can easily be attained just through 1 kill and looting a couple items, or you could just loot a couple buildings and keep away from people just to get this better weapon, and then you'll be in a better position to fight and try and win fights. So that's going to be our blade build. Just to review, we have these 3 perks, which the Brutus is blade specific, and then we're going to select this tier 3 blade mid-match airdrop. Alright, and so for our third build that we're going to run, it's going to be the trapper build. So this is something that you might want to try out. I still actually need to try this out just because it is kind of fun to play with traps and try and trick people into your snares, or hide some punji sticks and make them walk over them to gain an advantage in a fight. And this is definitely going to help you out. So we're going to replace this Brutus under the combat section with this trapper perk. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us 75% less time to place and disarm traps. And snares are going to apply a 30% expose wound for a short time. So if you catch somebody in a snare, a 30% expose wound basically means that if you were going to deal 20 damage on a hit, you would then deal 30% more, which would be 26 total damage. And if you'll have a higher tier weapon, it can be even more than that. So this is definitely a valuable perk. If you haven't tried the traps before, laying down steel snares or trying to pick them up after you've laid them down takes a very long time. And even putting down the punji sticks can take a while. Say you're running away and you need to quickly put one down to kind of make a defensive spot for yourself. 75% less time is going to be very beneficial for you, and it's going to help you out. So this might be something you want to try, and then we're going to pair it with an airdrop to see if we can try out some traps and see if we can get something that's going to work for us. So if you can, we're going to try this late airdrop because it's going to give us the Bowie knife guaranteed, which is the best tier 3 weapon in the game, and it's going to give us steel punji sticks, steel snares, and steel caltrops, and these are all 3 very good traps. They're the best traps in the game, and so we want to be able to use these in our airdrop, and then we also get that awesome melee weapon to go along with it. And so we're going to be in a good place to try and win the match, but like I said, this is a late match airdrop, so you're going to have to be able to survive long enough to use it. So let's keep that in mind. If you do not select this one, instead, you'll be looking at this Utility Traps airdrop. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us a backpack, it's going to give us steel snares, explosive mines, steel punji sticks, and steel caltrops. So this is basically going to fill up your inventory very fast. You do have to get to 75 funk to use it, but say you get 75 funk within the first 2 minutes of the match, you can call in your airdrop right then. You don't have to wait for the mid-match or the late match. You can call it as soon as you get to 75. So this is beneficial. If you want to try out the traps, this is definitely a good way to do it. And since you are getting rid of Backpacker, since you get a backpack in the airdrop, you can then replace it with any of these utility perks or any of these movement perks. And if you want to check out my perk guide video, you can go through and see which ones I think are the best out of these if you want to check something different. You could also keep the backpacker on and then use that backpack that's going to come in your airdrop to make a reinforced crafted armor, which might actually be the best thing you can do so that you can survive longer in a match. So that is going to be our Trapper build, and the perks real quick: Backpacker, Dig Deep, and Trapper. And then the airdrop, I'm going to go with Outback, which gives us the Bowie Knife guaranteed, punji sticks, snares, and caltrops. And like I said, if you don't think that you can last until late game, you can then try this Utility Traps, and it will give you all these items that you can try out. For build number 4, we want to try some ranged weapons and see if we are good at ranged weapons, see if we run with those a lot. I like to use those quite a bit, and I have used these perks. So first off, we're going to take off Backpacker because we want to use Bow Flexor, which is going to give us 25% faster arrow velocity and 25% less charge time with all bows. So you charge a fully charged shot 25% faster, and you shoot 25% faster. The arrows travel faster. So we're going to select Bow Flexor instead of Backpacker because you can only have one perk from each class. And then instead of Trapper, we're going to run this Ranger, which gives us 10% damage with all ranged weapons. So it's going to give us that little bit of extra damage, and we're going to keep Dig Deep on because, like I said, that is something that can help you no matter what build you have. And as far as the airdrop is concerned, there's 2 different things that you could do here. So in order to get something right away that can help you, in the mid-match airdrop you can select Cupid, which gives you a recurve bow, a gas grenade, and a smoke bomb. It costs you 100 funk like the other mid-match airdrops. So you don't have to have a great amount of funk, you don't have to last all the way through the match. Or we can try this late match airdrop, Big Game, and now it has the compound bow, which is definitely the best bow in the game. It has the most damage. If you can last until late game, and if you think that you can, say you're just trying something out, definitely give this a try because the crafted explosive is very good, and the steel traps are going to help you cripple people so that you can get back and shoot more with your bow. Personally, I would select Big Game between these two because I'm confident that I can get to 150 funk and I can last until the late game airdrops spawn. But if you're new and you just want to try the bows out and you want to have a guaranteed decent bow, then I would try Cupid. You only have to get to 100 funk like the others, and you get the recurve bow, which is the second best bow, and you get some other goodies as well. So we'll select Cupid for the new players, Big Game for experienced players that can survive, and then the perks that we have are Bow Flexor, Dig Deep, and Ranger. So we can try out the ranged weapons and really get the max effect for it. We'll call this build the Bow build. Okay, and for our final build, our 5th build that we're going to go through, this is going to be for very new players that want to get their feet wet in the combat system, learn what they have to do, learn the ins and outs of how to fight. We're going to want to use this and try and get as many fights as possible just to get used to the combat. You're not going to win fights right away unless you're just naturally good at these games. You're going to have to learn the system, and so the best way to get better at this game is just to fight as much as you can. With that in mind, you're going to want to select Jumpstart. Now, a lot of people might scoff at this and say that this is a wasted perk. It's stupid to do this because you could just go to a building and find a weapon, no problems, and then when somebody comes, you'll have a weapon and you'll be prepared. Well, I've been in multiple buildings, and there are times that you go in a building and there is no weapon to be found. Or, if you're brand new, you don't know where the hell a building is, so you're going to want to select Jumpstart to give it a try. You're going to get this. You're going to get a random tier 1 weapon in your inventory right off the start. You could get the best one, which is the Tonto knife, or you could get the worst one, which is the hammer. But either way, you're going to have a weapon so you can try and defend yourself if somebody comes to hunt you down. And if you go to a building and you find a different weapon that's better, like if you look at my weapons guide and you find a better tier 1 weapon, well then great, because now you can sell the one that you had if it was worse, and you've gotten yourself 15 funk to go towards your airdrop. So we're going to select Jumpstart, and we're going to get a tier 1 weapon right off the bat. And then we're going to keep Dig Deep, because it's definitely a good perk for new players, because you're going to get that little bit of an edge towards the end of a fight. Say you're really close and your Dig Deep pops and you get 10 health back. You now have that second chance to finish off your opponent and win the fight and move on from there. For the third perk, this might be another controversial perk that I'm going to pick for you since you're a new player, but if you're just looking to fight and you're just looking to get better at the game, Berserker is what you're going to want to pick. You're going to get 10% damage increase for any type of damage that you do to an opponent. The only downside is you're not going to get healing applied from kills. So say there's 2 players and you kill one of them, you're not going to get the normal healing that you would normally get from getting that kill. I think it's 15 health that you would normally get. You're not going to get that any longer. But since you're new and you're just starting out, if you do get a kill, you're going to be pretty excited about that. You'll be fine probably with just getting 1 kill, even if you get killed by the next opponent. So we're going to want to try this because you're going to get 10% extra damage. And then since you don't get the healing from the kill, you know, you can go make a bandage or you can go to a machine and heal up really quick, hopefully before an opponent arrives. But this is going to give you a slight edge, a 10% damage increase that will help you fight early on in the game and learn the system and try and figure out the combat. And then you can move on to some of the other builds that I talked about earlier, which are a little bit more advanced. Okay, and then as far as an airdrop is concerned, since we're brand new, if you want to, you can select one of these min-match airdrops that will give you multiple items. But I still think the best thing to do is to either pick the mid-match blade or mid-match bludgeon, because you're going to get a very good weapon no matter what you get, and it's only going to cost you 100 funk. And then hopefully by the time that you've gotten to the mid-match airdrop, you do have some other items to kind of work with, whether it be stims or traps or things like that. So my suggestion, if you're running these 3 perks, which is going to be our new player build, utility is going to be Jumpstart, survival is Dig Deep, and combat is Berserker. You're going to want to select one of these 2 airdrops, tier 3 blade or a tier 3 bludgeon, because if you make it to the mid-match airdrops, this is going to give you a definite advantage over others that are still waiting for their late match airdrops. Alright, and that will do it for the 5 builds that I would suggest using. Some of them are for more experienced, some of them are for newer players, but all of them can be tried by everyone. You'll never know if you're going to like something if you don't try it, and so my suggestion is to just go ahead and try some of these different builds, see if they work for you. You might end up liking one more than the other. You might end up picking these over some of the builds that you're currently running. So definitely let me know in the comment section below if this helped you out or if it gave you any other ideas. And let me know if you have any builds that you use that you think, definitely can work for newer players or, some experienced players as well. If you like the content, definitely give it a like. And maybe subscribe if you want to see more content of the Culling. But until next time, I'll see you later.